Tesla has demonstrated remarkable resilience amid recent trade turbulence affecting the American automotive sector. While many automakers face significant challenges with the implementation of new tariffs, Elon Musk's electric vehicle manufacturer appears to be in a relatively more favorable position, thanks to strategic decisions made years ago that are proving particularly advantageous in the current scenario. The American automotive market is undergoing a profound transformation, driven not only by electrification, but also by changes in trade policies that are redefining the rules of the game for domestic and foreign manufacturers. In this context, Tesla emerges as a fascinating case study on how supply chain decisions can create lasting competitive advantages. The Californian company, now also Texan, has built over the years a predominantly American production infrastructure, with factories in Fremont, California, and more recently in Austin, Texas, which produce most of the vehicles destined for the American market. This local production strategy was not accidental. Since its inception, Tesla has adopted a different approach from traditional automakers, prioritizing control over its production chain and seeking to maximize domestic content in its vehicles. The result is impressive. Approximately 75% of components for models like the Model 3 come from the United States and Canada. This high percentage of North American content not only strengthens the local economy, generating jobs and technological development, but also provides Tesla with natural protection against import tariffs that affect competitors more dependent on imported parts and vehicles. Vertical integration is another fundamental pillar of Tesla's strategy that is paying dividends in the current scenario. Unlike many automakers that outsource much of their production, Tesla has chosen to manufacture critical components in-house, including batteries, electric motors, and software. This approach, although initially more costly and complex, gives the company greater control over its supply chain and significantly reduces its exposure to tariffs on imported parts. The Nevada Gigafactory, for example, produces battery cells in partnership with Panasonic, ensuring a stable supply of this essential component without relying excessively on imports from Asia. However, it would be incorrect to state that Tesla is completely immune to the effects of new tariffs. Elon Musk himself publicly acknowledged that Tesla is not unscathed here. The tariff impact on Tesla is still significant. This statement reflects an inescapable reality. Approximately 32% of Tesla's components are still imported from countries such as Mexico, Canada, and China. With increasing tariffs, these components will inevitably become more expensive, putting pressure on the company's production costs and potentially affecting its profit margins, which are already subject to intense scrutiny by investors and market analysts. The question many American consumers and investors are asking is how these changes will affect Tesla vehicle prices in the domestic market. Historically, Tesla has demonstrated a dynamic approach to pricing, frequently adjusting them in response to changes in production costs, market conditions, and government incentives. In the current scenario, the company is likely to face pressure to increase prices, but its relatively more favorable position compared to competitors more dependent on imports may allow it to maintain greater price stability. This potential competitive advantage has not gone unnoticed by Wall Street. Analysts have pointed out that in a high-tariff environment, Tesla could strengthen its position in the American market, especially if foreign competitors and even some American brands with more globalized supply chains are forced to implement significant price increases. For American consumers, this could mean that the price difference between a Tesla and competing luxury vehicles could decrease, making the brand's electric vehicles relatively more attractive. Tesla's adaptability also deserves highlight in this context. The company has repeatedly demonstrated its ability to quickly adjust its supply chain and component designs in response to external challenges. During the recent global semiconductor crisis, for example, Tesla managed to rewrite its vehicle's firmware to use alternative available chips, minimizing production disruptions that severely affected competitors. This agility can be a valuable asset in navigating tariff-related challenges, allowing the company to adapt more quickly than more rigid and bureaucratic competitors. The current scenario also raises questions about Tesla's future strategies regarding its supply chain. The company was already in the process of diversifying its global production, with operational factories in China and Germany, in addition to its American facilities. This international presence allows Tesla to serve local markets with local production, reducing the need for exports subject to tariffs. However, the increase in global trade tensions could potentially accelerate efforts to further increase American content in vehicles destined for the U.S. market, possibly including the relocation of production of currently imported components. For American consumers, especially those interested in electric vehicles, the current landscape presents complex considerations. On one hand, Tesla's supply chain advantages may result in relatively more stable prices for its vehicles compared to some alternatives. On the other hand, the general increase in costs in the automotive sector due to tariffs could slow down the adoption of electric vehicles in the American market, an outcome that would go against the electrification and sustainability goals that many consumers and policymakers support. The implications extend beyond Tesla and the automotive sector. Tesla's case illustrates how trade policies can have complex and sometimes contradictory effects, benefiting some American companies while potentially harming others with more globalized supply chains. It also highlights how long-term strategic decisions about production location and vertical integration can create resilience in the face of unpredictable political and economic changes. For investors in the American market, the current situation presents both risks and opportunities. Tesla, with its relatively more American supply chain, may be better positioned than some competitors to navigate the high-tariff environment. However, significant challenges remain, and the company's ability to manage cost increases without sacrificing growth or profitability will be crucial for its future performance. The debate on tariffs and trade protectionism is often polarized, with advocates arguing that such measures protect American jobs and critics pointing to price increases for consumers and possible retaliation from trading partners. Tesla's case offers interesting nuances to this debate, suggesting that companies with domestically focused supply chain strategies can indeed gain competitive advantages in a protectionist environment, even if they are not completely isolated from negative effects. Looking to the future, Tesla's trajectory will continue to be influenced by a complex interaction of technological, economic, and political factors. The company has demonstrated remarkable adaptability so far, successfully navigating through supply crises, regulatory changes, and market fluctuations. However, the current environment of growing economic nationalism and global trade fragmentation presents unprecedented challenges, not just for Tesla, but for the entire global automotive industry. For American consumers, especially those passionate about automotive technology and innovation, Tesla continues to represent a fascinating story of disruption and industrial reinvention. The company has not only revolutionized vehicle propulsion with its electric technology, but is also demonstrating innovative approaches to manufacturing and supply chain management that can offer valuable lessons for other industries facing similar challenges. Ultimately, while Tesla certainly faces significant challenges related to new tariffs, its relatively stronger position compared to many competitors illustrates how long-term strategic decisions about production location and vertical integration can create resilience in times of economic and political turbulence. For American consumers, investors, and policymakers, the ongoing evolution of Tesla's strategy in response to these pressures will offer valuable insights into the future of advanced manufacturing in the United States and the role of trade policies in shaping industrial competitiveness.